Hello and welcome to the Real Agents of Change. We just love to acknowledge and celebrate and introduce those agents of change in the world who are actually walking their walk and doing beautiful works for everyone to live in a more wholesome, positive, uplifting community, whatever that means to them and to you. And today I want to introduce Rabbi, who I was introduced to by one of our Real Agents of Change, Claudia Intel. And he just has such a wonderful story and a wonderful project that he's working on. I just wanted to introduce him and learn a little bit more about your project. Rabbi, please feel free to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're up to in the world.
Okay, Cami, thanks a lot. Really a pleasure to be here. In general, our Teach 613 project is really something that I know you would enjoy. I had the opportunity to read your book a bit, Mingle to Millions. And I really want to give you a big thank you at the way you are so honest about life's journey and lifting people up to bring them to really be all they can be. And that's much of what we like to do in terms of parenting classes, coaching, a lot of family-oriented things. And we find that brand of religious education really not just uplifts people, but uplifts communities. And of course, it's just very motivating to see people at their best. And we're looking at a new project that is really nuts and bolts oriented, meaning very education oriented. We're looking to go through the 10-volume Jewish law book in about 5-6 years, doing one chapter a day. And obviously it's going to be challenging. How do you make law interesting to everyone? Really, we're looking to do an embrace of ages and genders and backgrounds. And I believe it could be done. We've done a pilot program with very good reviews. And we're looking at this at our latest project. In Hebrew, it's called Shulchan Aruch Yomi, the daily chapter of Jewish law.
Well, I went to your website and you talk about doing it in 10 minutes a day. Talk about that a little bit. What can your public expect to get on a daily basis?
So we actually have a little bit of experience in this 10-minute a day concept. We have a 10-minute a day Take 10 for Talmud, which is Jewish literature in its original form. And we cover a 10-minute message, 7.5-year cycle called Daf Yomi in Hebrew, the daily folio. And we really worked at culling something, a message, 10-minute message that would be meaningful, again, gender neutral, not like we're jumping off in any one direction, age neutral. And also we have 200 participants to that on a daily basis. And we're looking that this Shulchan Aruch focused on Jewish law should have even more universal appeal. Perhaps we're looking to get 1,000 a day between the podcasts and the WhatsApps and the emails, and a written message that would also accompany it for those who prefer not to listen. I have a cousin who really, he told me he can't listen to anything at work, but while he's supervising, he can glance at anything, and he would love to read 2-paragraph message each day. And that's what we're looking at.
Now, this is a 5-year project, and you and I have talked a little bit about the funding that will be required for that. Tell us a little bit about that.
So that's why this reality funding project is really an amazing opportunity that's coming just at this juncture. We're looking at a project that's about $1 million over the 5 years in order to get the right support for the participants and the right advertising. And $1 million project is just not the kind of thing that a small nonprofit like ours has ever done. And what came to our attention is the work that you, Cami, and Bruce are doing in terms of real estate donations. And it's really an amazing breakthrough for the nonprofit world. Special compliments to what you're doing. And really, we see it as a great opportunity for a nonprofit like ours. People have come to us in the past offering real estate donations, but we obviously do not have the system in place to judge the worthiness of the donation or to process the donation in any effective way. And what I understand that you're doing is creating that team of real estate experts who can process it. And my understanding is that you're able to return to the organization or to the donor advised fund 90% of what was donated, which is really an amazing dynamic benefiting the nonprofit world. So we really thank you for that.
Well, if I may, I'll share with our viewers exactly what you're talking about. 90% on the short end, 98% on the high end, and on average, 95% of the proceeds. So here's what it looks like. Let's use your nonprofit as an example. There are donors out there who hear your mission and they want to support you. We call it time, talent, and treasure. Some people have the time and the talent, like you do, to put into hours and days and weeks and months of putting together foundations and nonprofits. And you've got the time and the talent. Somebody else has got the treasure. And the treasure can be in cash, or it can be in non-cash assets, in our case, specifically real estate. So what we know to be true is that as a society, as a country, United States, less than 3% of our wealth and assets is actually held in cash. But 43% of our wealth is held in real estate. And so this specialized nonprofit, ours is realtygiftfund.org. Specialized nonprofit is the go-between that helps that real estate get from the donor to your nonprofit in cash. Very simple. So donor says, I want to help Rabbi. I've got a piece of property anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world in some circumstances. So Rabbi couldn't take that property under most circumstances. It's states away, and maybe there's a mortgage to be paid off, and maybe, there's a roof that needs to be put on. Just a lot of reasons why nonprofits don't take real estate. So Realty Gift Fund, the specialized nonprofit, takes title, can pay off mortgages, can give that donor cash if they want it. They take on all the responsibility, relinquishes you of any risk at all. And when the property, which we list with the real estate agent at full commission, so for those of you watching, if you're a real estate agent or no real estate agents or financial advisors, you want to share this video because we list it with a real estate agent at a full commission. So the realtor is getting paid. They're making money to make a difference for your nonprofit. And at the end of the transaction, 90 to 98% of the proceeds from that piece of real estate make it to your nonprofit to fund this beautiful project that you have. So we at the Real Agents of Change are happy to provide any other information that donors would like to have, that real estate agents, that financial advisors, and the property donors would like to have based on what we're talking about here. Rabbi, what kind of questions do you think would make it easy for our viewing audience to understand what you do, what we do, and what we're doing together? What do you think would be the best direction to take our conversation?
So one of the ideas that you shared, and Bruce also pointed this out, is how user-friendly your donor advised system is, in that sometimes the property might be worth a lot more than the donor actually wants to donate. And you can work with them and get them cash out as they need and then leave the remaining amount as the donation. And just that flexibility, if you could talk to that flexibility a little bit, I think that would be very helpful.
Nice. So one of the reasons people will donate to nonprofit when a third party like Realty Gift Fund is leveraged is because of the convenience that you're talking about. I was just interviewing him about 3 more success deals that they have done. And
those are good.
Typically nonprofits, they have boards, they have red tape, they have meetings. It takes them 3, 6, 9 months. One of the deals he was talking about was taking nonprofits a year to make decisions about it. But with Realty Gift Funds, very quick decisions can be made. So donor says, I have a condo in Florida and it's worth $1 million and I want to help Rabbi's mission. I don't want to help him that much though. I want to get my basis out. I paid $400,000 for it 10 years ago. If I could get my basis out, he can have the rest. So Realty Gift Fund can make these decisions very quickly, in less than 30 days, in less than 2 weeks in a lot of cases. They give the donor their $400,000 cash. They get the donor off of the title. They're all done. They've got their tax deduction right now. Realty Gift Fund now has this piece of property that they've invested $400,000 into because that's what they gave the donor. When they list this property with a local real estate agent and it sells, after expenses, they got to pay themselves back the $400,000. They got to pay the real estate agent's commission, etc. But let's say that at the end of this transaction, there's $550,000 in proceeds. 90 to 98% of that is going to your nonprofit. Now, people will ask, what determines that they keep 2, 5, 10%? It depends on how complicated the process is, how much money out of pocket they do need to put out, that they need to recoup, et cetera, et cetera. But Realty Gift Fund has told me that on average in this year, they've kept 5.9%. So they just did a transaction 3 weeks ago where the property was valued at $1.8 million in California, tiny little ranch, but it was in Silicon Valley, so it was $1.8 million. They did that transaction lickety split in about a month, and they only kept 2% because it was a simple transaction. It was easy to do, only kept 2%, but on average it's 5 to 9%. So we want our people to know, yes, there is a third party in the middle that makes this so easy for Rabbi, but this is a third party that is very philanthropically focused. They, on average, keep less than 10%, and there are some in the same industry that keep 30, 70, and sometimes 100% of the proceeds, giving the donor the tax deduction they're looking for, but not being generous to their other philanthropic friends.
That's very helpful, Cami. And yes, that's really what attracts me to this presentation, because it really does give the donor a lot of flexibility. And I also find it satisfying, if you will, that the people in the chain are all getting paid appropriate fees. We're not asking for volunteers. When you get volunteers, we know in the nonprofit world, it's not always the best service that you'd like to see. And we're talking about much bigger assets here than the benefit that the volunteerism would save us. We really want it to be done in a professional way. And I think the return that we're seeing on such a business model is very respectable.
You know, so I appreciate you bringing that up. If I may, this is truly win-win-win for everyone. So the real estate agent gets a full commission to list and liquidate the real estate. Financial advisors can make more fees on their assets under management. Let's say, for example, that same example that I just gave, that client pulled out $400,000 cash. What if they took some of that and bought stocks or bought life insurance policies because maybe they do have a couple of children who are expecting to get that condo, but they really wouldn't have known what to do with it anyway. So now the donor can actually get some cash, buy some replacement life insurance. So now the kids are taken care of when they pass on. There's no complicated asset for the kids to take care of. You got funded, financial advisor made some money, real estate agent gets paid. And I really also want to share that other businesses, I won't go off on a tangent about it like I can, but being socially responsible is not just the right thing to do for businesses. It's the good thing to do. Clients and customers want to work with businesses that are socially responsible. So when those attorneys and those mortgage companies and those title companies, the local dog walker, the local coffee shop, when all those people are part of letting the population know that charitable gifting of real estate is an extremely viable way to fund nonprofits, their businesses can grow too, because 87% of their marketplace wants to do business with others who care about the community, just like you and I do. So as we bring our time together to a close, what are a last couple of a thought or two that you'd like to share with our viewers?
So Cami, I know that we share the awareness that nonprofits are always outpacing themselves. And that's really our job. The government invites us basically to try to do good by the population. And we're always on a visionary track, trying to come up with better ways to serve, better ways to be effective. And when we outpace ourselves, the funding really becomes critical. So by bringing Reality Gift Fund into the picture, we're talking about moving from smaller donations to really heavyweight donations that can make the difference in big visionary projects. And for that, I really thank you and the team for making this available to the nonprofit world.
Well, we want to thank you for what you're doing in the world. Our goal, our vision, $9 billion a year is already donated to nonprofits through gifts of real estate. But we at the Real Agents of Change want to add $1 billion a year to that number. And we can't do it alone. We're not doing it in a vacuum. We want people like you to receive hundreds of thousands of dollars from these checks, millions of dollars from these checks, as we are paying full commissions and seeing our financial advisors benefit and watching our communities grow and flourish from all of this funding. We will put in the description of this video how people can reach you, how they can opt in to be a part of your 10-minute-a-day solution, how they can reach out to us, letting us know that they found us through you so that you are able to benefit from any donations that come to the table. Just really want to thank you for being open and for being visionary, because this conversation, charitable gifting of real estate's been around since 1917. We didn't create it. It's been happening for over 100 years. What happened is we found out that it is a way to benefit our nonprofits that just hasn't been leveraged or really put to good use for nonprofits like yours. And that's what we're doing, but we can't do it without your support. So thank you, Rabbi, for being here, for wanting to share this message. And if you're watching this video and you feel called as a real estate agent, as a financial advisor, as a nonprofit, as a donor, as a concerned citizen on this planet, to be a part of the shift, to just come together, be like-minded, and elevate and be positive in the world. We want you to be a real agent of change. Reach out to one of us, and we are more than happy to point you in the right direction. Thank you for your time, Rabbi, and I can't wait to see all the donations that come your way, whether it's cash or whether it's from real estate from this interview. Thank you.
We thank you. Best wishes.